everyone, welcome back to Fraud on the Telly. In today's episode of the Critical Role Breakdown, we're going to be following up on our last video, Who Are the Betrayer Gods, by covering their godkin brethren. That's why in today's video, we're answering the question, who are the prime deities? As always, if you enjoyed the video or learned something new, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Let's get right into it. Oh, and yeah, obviously, spoiler warning, it's impossible to cover information about the prime deities without spoiling some aspects of EXU Calamity and campaigns 1 and 2, so consider yourself warned. So if you watched our Who Are the Betrayer Gods video, you know that before we can answer who are the prime deities, we have to do a little Exandria history lesson. Long ago, the gods came to the world of Exandria. At the time, the primordials ruled this world, but they allowed the gods to make it their home. Over time, these gods would begin creating life. Mortals would then come to worship these gods for the gifts they have given them. The primordials, though, believed the gods then overstepped their boundaries by granting these mortals access to divine magic. Some of the gods, believing their oath was to the primordials who ruled this land before they arrived there, decided to side with them in wiping out all of the mortals. The prime deities then were the gods that stood against the primordials and the betrayer gods in the battles of the schism and the calamity to protect the mortals. AKA, they're the good guys. First, Melora, or as Critical Role fans know her, the Wildmother. The goddess of wilderness and nature, the Wildmother is largely worshipped by farmers, sailors, and druids, but has worshippers of all people from all backgrounds. Her early symbol is that of a wreath wrapped in grass with a shepherd's crook. Along with Ioun, she is the only other god with the alignment true neutral. The Wildmother is in a fractured romantic relationship with the goddess Erathis. The two wish to keep harmony between nature and civilization, but the fractured nature of their relationship reflects the differences between civilization and nature. Melora with Erathis created humans on Exandria, granting them the capacity for both great compassion and great chaos. During the calamity, the Wildmother would be dealt a great blow, as the betrayer god Zahir would ambush and kill many of her followers. Later in the calamity, the Wildmother and her followers would defeat Bane and his goblinoid armies atop the Banesfell Plateau. Before withdrawing beyond the Divine Gate, the Wildmother would plant a seed in the barn fields of Jorhas, where some of the worst fighting of the calamity took place. This tree would become known as the Arbor Exemplar, a massive tree standing alone in this desolate wasteland. During the calamity, the Wildmother would construct a powerful magical staff known as the Spire of Conflux, made to be wielded by her mortal champion in the calamity. Currently, it is being wielded by one Archdruid Keyleth, leader of the Ereshari. Notable temples and sites of the worship of the Wildmother include the Blooming Grove, a graveyard tended by the Clay family. Notable worshippers of the Wildmother in Critical Role include the cleric Caduceus Clay and the paladin Ford Stone, both player characters. Number 2, Avandra, the Changebringer. Avandra, also known as She Who Makes the Path, is the goddess of freedom, trade, and luck. Her holy symbol is that of a gold coin imprinted with the profile of a woman's face. Often worshipped by adventurers, merchants, halflings, and gnomes, the nature of Avandra leads many temples of her to be found along well-traveled roads. Many people who are not disciples of Avandra oftentimes pray to her for safe passage on journeys. Some speculate that Avandra was the creator of halflings, though others believe it was the Allhammer. Avandra is arch-enemies with her godkin Asmodeus, the Lord of the Hells. Towards the end of the calamity, Avandra defeated Asmodeus by tricking his armies into attacking and destroying one another. As well, it was because of Avandra's blessing that the god Pelor would successfully best Tharizdun, the Chained Oblivion, in the calamity. Number 3, the Raven Queen, the Matron of Ravens. The second god of death, the Raven Queen was once a mortal wizard of the floating city of Avalir during the Age of Arcanum. Theorized to be Ruidus born, the Raven Queen was once a follower and even said to be partner of the previous god of death. It is said roughly 100 years before the calamity, the woman who would become the Raven Queen developed a ritual which allowed her to destroy the god of death and take his place. As she ascended to godhood, the former god's name was stricken from the history books along with her mortal name. The goddess of death, fate, and winter, her followers seek her favor to guide them in death. The Raven Queen is often depicted as a woman in a black gown wearing a porcelain white mask. Her hatred for the undead has made her mortal enemies with the demon prince of undeath, Orcus. Many mages would attempt to follow in the Raven Queen's footsteps to achieve godhood, but all would fail, except for one who would become the betrayer god Vecna. Another came close, though, who inadvertently would set the betrayer gods free, starting the calamity, named Vespin Koras. During the calamity, she would create a set of armor, known as the Deathwalker's Ward, which would be worn by her champion Pervon Sul. This armor would be one of the legendary armaments known as the Vestiges of Divergence. It would rest in Pervon's tomb until found by Vox Machina some 800 years after the Divergence. Baxeldon would make a bargain with the Raven Queen, trading his life for the life of his sisters. He would don the armor, becoming a paladin of the Raven Queen. Later, after being killed by Vecna, he would make another bargain with her to become a Revenant until the Betrayer God was defeated. Number 4, Corellon the Archheart, the god of arcane magic and the Fae. Corellon is the creator of the first elves. It is said they wove them out of grass. During Exandria's founding, the Archheart wandered the lands, spreading magic and creating forest. Corellon is depicted as a beautiful and graceful elven being with long golden hair. Corellon's holy symbol is that of 2 crested moons facing each other atop a 4-pointed star. During the Calamity, Corellon would face off in a mighty battle against the Betrayer Grumsh the Ruiner. During this battle, Corellon would strike a blow, taking the Betrayer God's eye. It is said the blood from Grumsh's eye would flow down onto Corellon's soldiers, transforming them into the first centaurs and some into the first orcs. Corellon also would be the god that would banish the Archfey Artagan to the Feywild. Number 5, Pelor the Dawnfather. The god of the sun, summer, and agriculture, his holy symbol is that of an 8-sided star. Pelor is depicted as a being in golden plate with a face that shines like the sun. He is one of the prime creators of life in Exandria, and as such he vehemently defends the mortals he has created. Pelor and his followers would be integral in the fight against the Betrayer Gods in the Calamity, as Pelor himself would personally do battle with many of his godkind. Towards the end of the Calamity, Pelor, along with the help of the goddess Ioun, would trap the Betrayer God Tharizdun, allowing Pelor to fight and eventually banish this mad god, in so creating many of the mountains around where present-day Whitestone exists. Ioun would be greatly wounded in this battle. To pay reverence to her, Pelor would plant the Sun Tree at the spot at which she was injured. During the Calamity, Pelor would also defeat the Betrayer God Torog, the Crawling King, piercing his body with 1,000 lances of sunlight. As well, during the Calamity, Pelor would create one of the vestiges of Divergence, a great set of armor known as the Plate of the Dawn Martyr, which would much later be worn by One Pike Trickfoot. As well, during the climax of Campaign 1, Pelor would bestow a boon and blessing upon Vex'ahlia in order to aid Vox Machina in their fight against Vecna. Number 6, Erathis. The Lawbearer, the goddess of civilization and law, her symbol is that of a double-headed axe with a pattern of scales. As stated earlier, Erathis, with her love for Melora, created humans in Exandria. In the Calamity, she was one of the prime deities who fought the Betrayers in the siege of Vasselheim. It is said that at the end of the Calamity, it was Erathis and Bahamut who came to the people of Vasselheim, telling them the gods will leave the world of Exandria behind the Divine Gate. Number 7, Kord, the god of storms and warfare. Kord's symbol is that of 4 bolts of lightning radiating from his shield. Kord is depicted as a human-like man with rippling massive muscles. His beard is long, reaching the middle of his chest. In one hand, he carries a short sword. Worshipped by warriors, soldiers, and sailors, Kord is revered for his strength. Early in the Calamity, Kord would strike one of the first decisive wins for the Prime Deities. He would strike down his godkin Lolth, the Spider Queen, impaling her with one of his thunder spears. After her defeat, Lolth's armies would scatter to the Underdark. Kord, like many other gods, oftentimes appears to mortals in dreams or during the sky in great storms. Notable followers of Kord in the Critical Role universe are Earthbreaker Grun, one of the Dawn Marshals of the city of Vasselheim, and player character Yasha of the Mighty Nine. After the founding and defeat of the Primordials, Kord would forge the Titanstone Knuckles from the heart of a fallen Earth Primordial. These knuckles became one of the vestiges of Divergence and would be wielded by Grog Strongjaw. Number 8, Sehanine, the Moonweaver. The chaotic good deity of moonlight, autumn, illusions, and misdirection, the Moonweaver is heavily worshipped by halflings and elven culture. Her symbol is that of an upside-down crescent moon. She's often depicted as a young girl with light blue skin and white hair. In the Calamity, the Moonweaver, along with the Allhammer, would create a trap for Torog, the Crawling King. The goddess would construct a grand temple known as the King's Cage, which would trap the Betrayer God, making it possible to banish him. Sehanine is also regarded as the goddess of love, as many believe she creates the shadows to allow for lovers' trysts. During the Age of Arcanum, followers of Melora and Sehanine would craft a magical blade known as the Star Razor, blessed by gods to protect the mortals. At some point, this sword would be broken, its parts scattered across Exandria until it was reforged and wielded by Ford of the Mighty Nine. Number 9, Bahamut, the Platinum Dragon. The deity of good aligned metallic dragons and those who stand for honor and justice, Bahamut is the sworn enemy of Tiamat, the Tailed Tyrant. Creator of metallic dragons and Dragonborn, Bahamut was one of the main deities defending the mortals during the battles of Vasselheim and the Calamity. During the Calamity, Bahamut would create for his loyal champions a grand silver shield bearing his crest. The shield would be known as Honor's Last Stand, one of the vestiges of Divergence. The most notable follower of Bahamut in Critical Role is the fan-favorite character from Campaign 1, Lady Kima of Vord. Number 10, Sarenrae, the Everlight. The goddess of redemption and healing, Sarenrae's symbol is that of a humanoid phoenix. During the calamity, Sarenrae was deceived by Asmodeus, as she believed no being to be unworthy of redemption. Asmodeus then tricked her as he pleaded with her to spare him. The father of lies would betray Sarenrae's trust, killing off most of her followers. After the divergence when the gods retreated behind the divine gates, many mortals would come to shun Sarenrae, believing it was the goddess's beliefs of redemption that led to her followers' demise. Thus, she has become a more obscure deity in current Exandria. Pike Trickfoot, a cleric of Sarenrae and member of Vox Machina, would receive the blessing of her goddess, and is at the forefront of restoring temples and worships to her. Number 11, Ioun, the knowing mentor. Our final god on our list, Ioun is the goddess of knowledge, prophecy, and skills. Her holy symbol is that of 3 open eyes. Ioun is depicted as an older woman with long, wavy silver hair and olive skin. Post-calamity, she would bear a great injury, a darkened gash of void on her stomach. During the calamity, Ioun would lead the charge to defeat Tharizdun, the Chained Oblivion. It was her who devised the Prime Trammels, a device used to banish gods from material planes. Ioun would bait Tharizdun to her central temple, which now resides under Whitestone. There she battled the Chained Oblivion, taking a grievous wound to the stomach that is still not healed to this day. The fighting would cause her temple to sink deep within the earth. This temple would later be referred to by Vox Machina as the Ziggurat. In modern day Exandria, worship of Ioun has largely changed from temples and clerics to libraries and monks. An organization called the Cobalt Soul was established, a group of individuals dedicated to the principles of Ioun who wished to gather and safeguard information for her. A notable follower of Ioun and monk to the Cobalt Soul is one Beauregard Lionette, played by Marisha Ray. And that's it. I hope that answers the question, who are the prime deities? Seeing as some have made more appearances than others in Critical Role, there's quite a large gap of knowledge between many of these gods. What prime deity would you like to see more of in Critical Role? Personally, I'd love to see more of the Ioun and Tharizdun conflict. As always, if you enjoyed the video or learned something new, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know information I missed about the prime deities in the comments below, because we just couldn't fit everything in. Check out our Who Are the Betrayer Gods video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Stay safe out there, guys. Peace, love. Adieu.